I'm the best fighter in the world, and truthfully speaking, they could say whatever they want, but it's gonna come down to a day, and it's gonna be a day where everything.
A long-awaited clash between Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson is now officially confirmed for November 23rd in Las Vegas, where the two top-level fighters will meet in a major unification bout to decide the undisputed king of the lightweight division.
The second spawn. I don't know what was going on at the time. I don't know. Come on, man. I don't want to tell you nothing for. I'm not gonna put it out while you left, but you remember. Why you think I left? It came out your mouth. Let me hear this, man. I want to hear it. It came out your mouth, Shakur. You won't deny that shit. What I say? You don't remember saying, yo, I gotta leave my tooth up in the back. I gotta go get this fixed. This nigga's lying. Oh my God. This nigga is lying. You gotta stop that shit. Hey, you have to leave. Hey. You have to leave, Shakur. On my daughter, that nigga ain't You said I gotta go shit fixed. Nigga, do you remember the sparring session? Yeah, that was the last one. Do you remember how the sparring session went?
Shakur Stevenson has been pushing for a fight with Gervonta Davis for quite some time, determined to land a high-profile spotlight matchup, and for a long period that opportunity seemed out of reach earlier in his career. He was tied to top rank, but struggled to secure the biggest stages, with both Stevenson and promoter Eddie Hearn pointing toward Bob Arum as a factor they believed limited his exposure and slowed his rise. Hearn in particular argued that stronger promotion could have accelerated Stevenson's popularity much faster now. After becoming a free agent following his last bout, his position in the sport has changed dramatically. He is now viewed as one of the most talked about names in boxing today, with Hearn highlighting that Stevenson recently pulled in some of the highest viewership numbers on ESPN in 2024, showing clear growth in his fanbase and reinforcing the idea that with the right backing he has the potential to reach an even higher level of success and global recognition.
Questions from you guys, and I'll say the same thing all the time. I think he's a pound-for-pound great fighter. I think he's one of the best fighters in the sport. You know, he had a good crowd in Newark. He just drew the biggest audience on ESPN of 2024, and people still like to criticise. He's not Arturo Gatti. He's not going to go in there with his chin in the air and give you a war every time.
However, when it comes to the business side of boxing, Shakur Stevenson still needs to face top-tier opponents inside the ring to truly elevate his career. Eddie Hearn has stressed that promoters across different companies need to collaborate more so fighters like Stevenson can finally get the big opportunities they deserve. He pointed out that a fight between Gervonta Davis and Stevenson carries real danger for Tank, and that whether it happens will largely depend on Davis's camp and Premier Boxing champions. He also made it clear that he does not want Stevenson to be held back from major fights because of politics or ego, noting that while cooperation in boxing has improved in recent times, the final call rests with Davis and his team, especially considering there is still the possibility of a future showdown with Vasily Lomachenko waiting in the mix.
I feel like nobody brought that out on him, and I feel like as each fight get on, somebody's going to keep. Like a Shakur Stevenson might bring that out of him. Like, he's a boxer, but he's a puncher. Any shot that he can land on Shakur can put Shakur out. So it could be an early night, but I know I'm waiting for that fight. I can't wait.
On July 16th in Newark, Shakur Stevenson delivered a clear unanimous decision win over Artem Harutyunyan. But instead of a celebration, the reaction inside the arena was mixed with noticeable boos, and some fans even heading for the exits before the final bell. The criticism quickly centered on his defensive and calculated style, with many feeling the performance lacked excitement and offensive urgency. Stevenson responded by explaining that his opponent's reluctance to engage made it difficult to open up and showcase more action, stressing that his approach is based on accuracy control and minimizing risk. However, on that night, it led to a fight that did not resonate with a large portion of the crowd. Despite the backlash, he stood firm on his performance, stating that Harutyunyan did not apply the kind of pressure needed to create a thrilling contest, and made it clear he appreciates the fans who understand the technical aspects of boxing, even if others were left wanting more.
The ones that don't, same way they say, I say fuck them. So, like I said, I appreciate the ones that come out and support and understand the art of boxing is hit and don't get hit. So I appreciate them fans, and they understand too that my last fight wasn't every night. I don't do that every night. I had nights where I crowd please, I beat people up.
Shakur Stevenson responded by making it clear that his last outing does not represent his typical style, explaining that there are plenty of fights where he brings excitement, applies pressure, and dominates opponents from close range, adding that he views himself as one of the best inside fighters in boxing. With that mindset, the upcoming clash is rapidly becoming one of the most talked about matchups in recent years, as anticipation continues to grow, especially with voices like Kenny Ellis, who works closely with Gervonta Davis, expressing confidence that the fight can happen. He pointed out that Stevenson is eager to move forward now that he is no longer tied to Top Rank, and is actively pushing for a November showdown, even suggesting that hesitation would be the only thing stopping it, while emphasizing that the chances are very real. At the same time, Eddie Hearn has shown strong interest in making Davis versus Stevenson a reality, openly discussing the possibility of working with Shakur and using the current promotional landscape to bring the fight together, stating that timing plays a crucial role in boxing, particularly with Davis still eyeing a potential bout with Vasily Lomachenko, and if that option falls through, then Stevenson becomes the most logical choice as a free agent ready to negotiate, creating an ideal situation where both fighters are available, motivated, and seeking a major challenge, removing many of the obstacles that previously stood in the way and setting the stage for what could become one of the biggest fights in boxing. Hearn has also acknowledged that while he would like to sign Stevenson, delivering the right fights is what truly defines a promoter, adding that if he cannot make those opportunities happen, then he would not be the right fit, but still reinforcing his interest in working with Shakur because of his talent and upside. Alongside all this momentum, there have been discussions about a possible fight date, with Ellis confirming Stevenson's push for November and stating that efforts are underway to finalize it around that time frame. However, he also revealed a detail that raised questions, mentioning that no one from Stevenson's side was willing to place a $1 million bet on him going the full 12 rounds, which could hint at concerns about his ability to stop Davis, and highlights just how dangerous and difficult a challenge Tank would be inside the ring.
Yes.
Well,
Front and center, baby. I'm trying to the west side of there, you'll be there.
and there's nobody on his team that would bet $1 million that it'll go 12 rounds.
Wow.
Because they don't truly believe.
Wow.
Kenny Ellis returned to the topic of the $1 million bet, pointing out that Shakur Stevenson's own camp was not willing to back him to last the full 12 rounds, using that as a way to question their level of confidence. At the same time, Ellis made an even more dramatic statement from his side, putting his own name on the line during a live session by saying that if Gervonta Davis lets the fight go the distance, he would step away from boxing completely. He stood firm in his belief that he has developed the best version of Tank and proven himself among the top trainers in the sport, showing total confidence in both his fighter and his work with such a bold and public declaration.
If it be 12 rounds, I'm walking away from boxing.
Wow. The game is not, we're going to win the fight. The game is, we're going to knock him out.
Absolutely.
If we don't knock him out, we don't win. But $1 million.
If you look at Gervonta Davis's most recent outing, it showcased both his knockout power and high-level ring awareness. On June 15, 2024, he returned to the ring against Frank Martin at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, and despite being inactive for over a year, he quickly established control before ending the fight with a brutal 8th-round knockout, improving his record to 30 wins with 28 knockouts, and once again proving his ability to close fights in dramatic fashion. That performance reinforced why many consider him among the top pound-for-pound fighters in the sport today. On the other side, Shakur Stevenson, after earning a unanimous decision win over Artem Harutyunyan, faced criticism from fans who felt the fight lacked excitement due to his defensive and calculated approach, which focuses more on precision control and minimizing damage rather than chasing knockouts. While that style is extremely effective, it can sometimes come across as less entertaining, which was the reaction on that night. However, his trainer Jaron Ennis pointed out that there were factors behind the lack of a stoppage, revealing that Stevenson was dealing with physical issues during the fight that limited his ability to push for a knockout, and also mentioning that hand injuries have been a recurring concern for him, with people close to Stevenson noting that he has dealt with hand problems from punching, which can affect his performance. But even with those challenges, he still managed to secure the victory through his elite skill set, smart tactics, and strong ring intelligence.
He boxed him and he win. But I talked to him last night. Both of his hands was hurt. He told me. He said both of his hands was hurt. You know what I mean? And that wasn't the first time, you know what I mean? They said, and I talked to his cousin, even before, he was telling me something about his hands. He always hurting his hands when he punched. So, you know what I mean? But listen, man, he did what he had to do. And I told him, stop listening to the crowd and stop listening.
He made it clear this is not a new issue, explaining that Shakur Stevenson has dealt with hand problems for a long time, even mentioning that people close to him have confirmed he often injures his hands when throwing punches, which can limit his ability to push for knockouts. But despite those setbacks, he still gets the job done in the ring, securing victories while being advised to block out criticism and ignore crowd reactions and focus only on his performance. Recently, Stevenson's quieter presence on social media has also drawn attention, with many questioning his mindset as a potential fight with Gervonta Davis approaches. However, Greg Hackett shared a different perspective, suggesting that the silence could actually be a positive sign, indicating that the fight might be getting closer and that Stevenson is choosing to stay locked in rather than engage in unnecessary talk, possibly learning from past situations and taking a more disciplined approach heading into such a major moment. According to Hackett, this more focused version of Stevenson could lead to a stronger performance, noting that both fighters have already said enough publicly and fans already understand the magnitude of the matchup, while official updates from co-manager Josh Dubin confirmed that Stevenson's team is ready and eager to make the fight happen, emphasizing that everything now comes down to the financial terms and whether Davis's side is willing to negotiate seriously, making it clear that the responsibility now lies with Tank's team, as Stevenson remains open to facing whoever is put in front of him, with his camp prepared for discussions at any time and waiting for the right offer, reinforcing that this is a fight he has been chasing for a long time, leaving the boxing world watching closely to see if both sides can reach an agreement and deliver what could become one of the biggest fights in boxing, with respected voices like Sean Porter also weighing in on the situation.
Expensive and so destructive. And then we have another guy who's so defensive and so hard to hit and such a good judge of distance. It's a very, very interesting weight class, 135, which is exactly why we're talking about it right now.
Like Shakur, I watched him here Top Rank spar several times. And he's great at what he does as well. However, I just believe Tank is just...
That statement has now started circulating online again as the buzz around the fight continues to grow, with many believing it could turn out to be one of the best matchups of the year. Chris Algerai also added his perspective, breaking down the potential clash by pointing out that both Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis bring a rare blend of defensive awareness and dangerous punching power, suggesting that their contrasting styles could produce a high-level battle capable of leaving a lasting impact on the sport. At the same time, Julius Ndongo shared his view, describing Stevenson as a highly skilled pure boxer with sharp movement, especially as a southpaw, which makes him extremely difficult to handle. However, he also highlighted the major challenge Stevenson would face against Davis, explaining that his usual approach of controlling distance and winning rounds while avoiding heavy exchanges may be difficult to maintain against someone like Tank, who constantly applies pressure, cuts off the ring effectively, and carries fight-ending power in both hands, making him a threat at any moment.
Reason, so to speak, whomever may have suggested it, or if it really did happen, I don't know. I don't care. But that might be what's best for him, to be honest with you, based on who he was up against in that type of fight. It wasn't easy win for him.
It now appears that Derek Jackson has made his position clear ahead of a possible November showdown, as he has long been connected to Gervonta Davis dating back to his early days, and has consistently praised his development from a rising prospect into a fully established world champion, describing him as a complete fighter who performs under pressure and continues to earn respect through his knockout ability and consistent performances. At the same time, he also acknowledged Shakur Stevenson as an elite-level technician, noting that he has observed him closely during sparring sessions at Top Rank, but ultimately pointed out a clear stylistic difference between the two, reinforcing Davis's identity as a high-intensity pressure fighter who operates at the very top level of the sport.